Hey there, everybody. I'm Paul Andrews. Did a loved one of yours pass? You have my condolences, but you do not have my desire for a normal, boring funeral. Send your loved one off to the great beyond in style at Andrews Mortuary and Fun Park. Celebrate your loved one's zest for life with many of our main attractions, from a fully loaded arcade to a mini golf course, even a go-kart track, and several other rides. Our wonderful and helpful staff will be there to help you get through the grieving process.
I ain't cleaning this mess up.
Did I mention we have an excellent restaurant, and if you're there on Tuesday, it's karaoke night. So come on down to Andrews Mortuary and Fun Park. Let us put the fun in your funeral. Andrews Mortuary and Fun Park, located on the corner of 79th and Harlem. Prices are subject to change and rides are available, weather permitting.
I'm Captain Cinema. Anyone who's ever watched my show knows that I love character actors, especially when a character actor who after years of hard work finally makes it into a leading role. Of course, I'm talking about the late Bill Paxton, who over the past 30 years has played countless memorable characters, from Chet in Weird Science, to Hudson in Aliens, to the captain who inspired Gloria Stewart to tell us a 3-hour story about a boat trip while Leonardo DiCaprio takes the polar plunge. Anyways, he's always been a solid actor, but in true form to any actor, there's always at least one horror movie under their belt from the beginning of their career, and this is no exception. However, I'm excited for this movie because it's a slasher movie from the 80s, and I rarely get to review slasher films, which means I get to play this.
Tonight's special message is to all those out there with a love of horror movies. This is the sounds of the slasher. All songs performed by Harry Warden himself. Just listen to the Ballad of Harry Warden from My Bloody Valentine.
The legend they say on Valentine's Day is a curse that'll live on and on. And no one will know as the years come and go, or the horror from long time ago.
Or his rendition of Are You Ready for Freddy by the Fat Boys.
Even if the dream warriors fail, Mr. Big Time Freddy Krueger prevails.
And who can forget the hair band classic by Dokken, Dream Warriors.
We're the Dream Warriors!
Just use your Jive credit card and you can order this music collection for 2 easy payments of $19.95. But if you order now, we'll include this special bonus song performed by a creepy doll. Actually, never mind credit cards. Feel free to send cash to the Trash TV studios.
Seriously, we'll accept any form of payment. So, let's take a look at the movie Mortuary, the one from the 80s, not the one with Alfalfa from the Little Rascals trying to have a threesome. Yes, that's a real movie.
Before your funeral, and your coffin lid is closed, before you are buried, and your flesh turns cold, before you are covered with the last shovelful of dirt, be sure you are really dead. Mortuary.
Spoilers!
Our movie starts off with a man being bludgeoned to death. Why? I don't know. Who is he? What's the significance of his death? Why do they have to show me how nice the upper class lives? I mean, seriously, look at how nice that place is. Damn. I'd kill for something like that. After some time, it cuts to 2 guys. One has been fired from his job as a mortuary assistant, and he decides to rob the warehouse that the mortuary uses for storage for compensation. The 2 friends witness a ceremony taking place, and we get some exposition on why he got fired.
I wasn't supposed to be there. He caught me watching him. The next thing you knew, I was... I was fired.
The two get separated when the killer of the movie strikes.
Hey, Greg! Greg! Hey, Greg! Greg!
Okay, his weapon of choice is a troker. For those of you who are unaware of what that is, it's a foot-long metal straw used to remove liquids from a cadaver. Now the end is sharp because it's meant to puncture human skin and organs. However, it's incredibly flimsy in the sides and it will bend easily.
The next 10 minutes is pretty standard and by the numbers. Greg thinks that Josh left him. Greg and his girlfriend Christy search for Josh at the local roller rink. Greg fools around with Christy. They go back to school the next day. It's here where we meet Paul, the lovable loser, played by Bill Paxton, who's obviously in love with Christy.
Well, maybe some other time.
Maybe.
Okay. How you been?
Fine. How about you?
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Hey, Greg.
Hi. Bye, Paul.
How you doing, Paul? Hi. Catch yourself in it? Yeah, check this out. Mozart. What the hell's a Mozart?
Christy is followed home to reveal that she's the daughter of the guy who was murdered at the beginning of the movie. So, that makes so much sense. It's been a month since her father was murdered, but nobody believes Christy, and they all assume that it was an accident. Just putting it out there, forensic science was still pretty accurate in the 80s. They could have easily found blunt force trauma. Just saying.
He was following me.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure. You think I'm crazy?
Christy, you have been highly imaginative since your father's accident.
It was not an accident.
Christy, I don't want to go through this with you again. The sheriff investigated. He found no proof whatsoever that your father's death was anything but an accident.
I was not stealing. What the hell do you think you were doing?
Sheriff, I told you all I know. Mr. Andrews fired Josh. He didn't pay him the money he owed him for working at the mortuary washing dead bodies. So Josh was taking the tires, and I was giving him a ride.
You were trespassing and stealing.
Dude, that's breaking and entering. I'm not saying I condone it. I'm just saying that, you know, there are prices to pay.
After the sheriff thinks Josh and Greg are pulling a prank, Greg is released. Meanwhile, Christy suffers from nightmares and sleepwalks. After Christy is attacked, Greg tells Christy that he saw her mom at the warehouse taking part in the
He
ceremony.
was holding a seance with some women. I didn't recognize any of them.
Yes.
Only I did. One of them.
Who?
Your mother.
My mother.
I didn't want to say anything before because I didn't want to cause any problems. She was wearing a black cape, just like what you think you saw last night. They all were.
Christy then comes to this realization.
Andrews and my mother are doing this to me.
I don't know.
Well, maybe they got rid of my father. Now they're trying to make me think I'm crazy.
There's only one way to find out.
Hi, Christy. Hi, Greg.
Hey, man, you scared the shit out of us.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I brought these for my mother's grave. Do you like them?
Mm-hmm.
I'll bet if Paul knew about this killer, he'd take action.
He's got a crush on you.
Are you jealous?
Of him?
Turns out everyone is connected. Paul's father owns a funeral home, Greg's parents are florists, Josh worked for Paul's dad, and Christy lost her father the same time that Paul lost his mother. Either these are all strange coincidences, or it's a really small town.
If you don't stop lying to the sheriff about me, if I catch you in that warehouse again, you're gonna end up in one of these caskets.
So far, the killer hasn't scared me once. Christopher George just mumbled that line under his breath and just scared the shit out of me.
What do you want?
If Paul is assisting his dad at the funeral home, then why was Josh even working there in the first place? When Greg and Christy spot Mr. Andrews and Christy's mom together, they decide to become detectives.
That's the car that was following me.
It's a mortuary car.
It turns out that they were just conducting a seance for closure. We're treated to the obligatory sex scene, complete with Christy's body double. The scene is cut short when Christy starts having daddy issues,
Greg.
and she decides that it'd be better if they broke up.
See each other for a while. Till I get my head together.
Christy's mom returns home as Greg is leaving. Oh, come on, you know I have to make this next joke.
Yeah, I didn't want to leave Christy alone.
Where is she?
She went to bed. She wasn't feeling well.
Oh. Well, did you two have a nice time?
Oh, yes, and Mrs. Parsons.
Interesting. Very interesting.
That night, Christy has a nightmare and sleepwalks, making what happens next questionable. Nice touch.
Open the window. Open the window. No, I don't want to harm you.
Christy's mom wakes up when she hears glass shatter and offers insight into what's been happening, proving that the parents aren't as inept as we once thought they were.
Could it have been Paul Andrews?
Why would Paul want to kill me?
Honey, Paul is psychotic. We didn't think he was dangerous. He was your father's patient. He got much worse after his mother committed suicide. For one thing, he became obsessed with you.
The killer strikes once again, killing Christy's mom, and then kidnapping Christy. During the fight, the killer's mask is ripped off, revealing the killer's identity. Like we didn't see this one coming. Can Greg save Christy? Will the diabolical plot reminiscent of Scooby-Doo be revealed? Will Christy survive?
You know, for a movie called Mortuary, it really doesn't take place at one. This is a piece of cheesy 80s nostalgia. It's atmospheric, the acting is actually really good, especially in the case of Paxton, who plays it so incredibly subtle. You actually feel his loneliness, and personally, I'd be his friend. There was a decent mystery, but it seemed shoehorned in to make this a slasher film just to capitalize on the upcoming slasher trend. It's not a good movie, but it's not the worst. Watch it on your own accord. That's just my opinion. Now, if only I could pair this movie with a burger.
Last week, Burger Antics celebrated its 100th week and gave us the pleasant pheasant. Rather than getting the standard beef patty, I opted for the chicken breast. Whiskey caramelized onion, a parsnip puree topped with roasted pheasant and thyme. I won't lie, this was a messy eat, but all the flavors went well with one another, especially the parsnip puree. Yeah, I didn't think it would be noticeable either. This burger is the perfect pair for any 80s cheesy horror movie.
In the morning, laughing happy fish heads. In the evening, floating in the soup.
Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up young.
Ask a fish head anything you want to.